they can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in a room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joe. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. Vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know this.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Steve Was Right show. Rio Ferdinand, Joe Beya, England are coming home.
I can't lie, Steve, man. I'm still really, really upset. I mean, you can see it in my face. I've hardly slept, and I'm just been practically crying tears. Rio, I know you got the shades to cover your emotions. What a night. What a night.
Well, firstly, guys, I watched your show last night. I watched your reaction straight after the game in the stadium, and I thought you guys were really good, measured. Steve wasn't over the top, like he sometimes is with England, which I appreciated, and you was absolutely floored by the result, Joel. So I wanted to congratulate you on being balanced, guys. But I was upset last night, and I'm glad that I had like a bit of time to sit and think and digest a little bit. And I think that I'm absolutely devastated because I was so convinced. I swear to you, you know, that people were going, "What? How can you be so sure?" I watched all the teams. I watched how we played. I was absolutely convinced that we were in the right moment to go and be very successful at this World Cup. And the big problem was, there's different ways to look at it. France, you have to give them respect and pay them respect and say that they've done a great job. And you go, okay, they're a really good team. They've experienced, they're the world champions, etc. But then on the other hand, I look at it and go, there was no better time than now to play France. 5 starters who would have absolutely started in this team weren't there. Their best number 9 in Europe isn't playing. Pogba, Kante, Kimpembe, Hernandez, the left back. Like these, and I kept putting myself as a player in the change room. And listen, it's not ever that simple where you go, "Oh, they got 5 players that will definitely win." But you got yourself in an unbelievable position here to strike. The timing of the World Cup when it was here, in the middle of the season, we're fresh. Normally we finish a absolutely slogging, hard-fought season and we limp into a tournament physically. We were fresh. There were so many positives. That's why I was so positive. And even you guys are going, "Rio, man, how are you this positive?" There were so many elements that I was sitting there and going, "This is the time, man." And the way that our team had, yes, the opponents that we had played weren't no great shakes. I fully took that on board, and Steve was very adamant about punching that home, and rightly so. But you still got to beat what's in front of you. And the way we were doing it with the players that were impacting the game from the bench, there was just all these elements were falling into place. I was thinking, wow, this is looking good. And it then takes me to the game. And I can't fault our effort, and I can't fault the way that we played at times. I thought first half France were convincingly, easily the better team. We didn't get into our stride. They dominated. I thought they would have they looked far more superior to us in all areas. I agree with your post-match analysis, guys, that Griezmann, listen, you got to bear in mind what he's been doing in the last year and a half. For him to be playing the way he is in this World Cup is absolutely astonishing. Like, it's crazy, man. And yesterday, he was the best player on the pitch by a mile. And in the first half especially, the way he was taking the ball, the way he was bringing other people in, the positions he was ghosting into, getting back in to help Tchouameni, who I thought in the first half was absolutely like outstanding as well. Rabiot too. And then I'm thinking, wow, maybe this isn't the time. In England, we ain't ready. Second half comes, we come out and the game changes. We had them penned back for long periods and we were playing well. We looked a threat. Now, our big issue, and I agree 100% and wholeheartedly with Steve, that our substitutions is where I think Gareth Southgate let us down. I think he's been pitch perfect, touch perfect in almost every decision he's made up to this point. But you get into a game like yesterday where this is really where it matters now. And I think Gareth Southgate came up short in the tactical element in terms of substitutions. Tactical, that's part of tactics, making substitutions. And in-game management and deciding games with substitutions at the business end of a tournament, I think he would hold his hands up maybe in retrospectively and looking at it and going, you know what, I threw a text in the group, and I'll stand by this. Gareth, in the moment, wasn't proactive with his substitutions. He was reactive. We were hit 1-1, and we're sitting there going, go on, take the ball by the horns now. Go on, make a substitution. Get us on the front foot. You got Rashford, you got Grealish. You can go on, get us on the front foot and change this game. I mean, we wait till they score, then we make the substitutions. Grealish comes on, I think, the 90th minute. Like, these are like, the game's dead. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, and you're sitting there going, it's too late, man. You've got to do this when we got a chance of still winning this game and go and taking the game from France. And they were there for the taking. And again, Saka even coming off. He's our most dangerous player. He's been. He gets the penalty. He received in the first half, received the ball more than anybody else in the opponent's final third. He looked our main threat throughout the game, and like even him coming off. But listen, that's probably a lesser to it of a worry for me. It's more about not being proactive with our substitutions when the game is there to be taken.
I think as dangerous as Saka was, I do think that Sterling did really well when he came off, and so I do agree with you, Rio. That's less of the concern. But just to echo what you and Steve have been saying, yeah, for sure, I would have loved to see Marcus on the 60th minute maybe, because you could tell that even though Foden was pretty solid and neat, you could tell he was running out of steam. You know, like he did his bit, he did his role, he did his job. Let's not be coy. Get the guys on to really take it to France, and it was a bit of a shame. I think I was so hurt though at the time, Rio. I couldn't really concentrate. But if you look at some of the positives in the game, I mean, we had the likes of Jude Bellingham, most duels won 13, most tackles made 16, most possession won 31, most take-ons completed 6. It's actually been really good for him during the World Cup itself, that is. So he really showed his worth. And yeah, you know, you had other players that really stepped up. I thought despite Harry Kane missing a penalty, you've seen your teammates miss the penalty. You can't blame him. What do you reckon happened there though, Rio?
To take it back, I think, listen, we lost the game not just because of the substitutions. I don't think that you can say we lost it just because of that. I think we weren't potent enough. We had opportunities. There were times the ball came in the box and we didn't finish off the chances. We didn't finish off the moments when we had the French team on the ropes. If you're not clinical in these games, you will get punished because the opposition at a world-class level are going to create opportunities. And they did. And Olivier Giroud took 2 or 3 chances and got his goal and wins the game. So there lies the difference between the two teams. I don't think it was a game where the two teams, one was up here and one was down here. I think we were quite evenly matched over the course of the 90 minutes. But again, it's the details in these big moments, in these big games, that defines games and decides whether you go through or not. I agree. I think there were some positives for if you're looking at it as a whole package. Jude Bellingham undoubtedly comes out of this tournament a player with his reputation enhanced to like unimaginable heights. Like what he's going to do in his career, his personality, his character in this game shone out more than anything for me. Still probing and trying. His pass was the one that got us the penalty at the end to make it if it was going to be 2-2. A raking 30, 40 yard pass. He showed so many different layers to his game that this guy is an all action Roy the Rovers. For any of the younger guys listening, just go and research Roy the Rovers. He's the guy who does everything. And his ceiling is like, I don't know where his ceiling is in terms of what he can achieve and what he can be. I have to shout out Declan Rice, I have to say, because I think he's been quietly one of our most consistent, best performers. And I think when you talk to a lot of the foreign players, the legends, obviously we're hanging around with a lot of the legends of the game during the World Cup and speaking to a lot of the guys. And when you ask them, okay, well, at the English guys, you get the obvious with Bellingham, etc. But most of them come back with Declan Rice as well. So in terms of the respect around Europe and the world football, I think he comes out of this tournament as a player who's enhanced his reputation. And I think I left him a message, actually, a text this morning about it. I think when you go into a tournament as a player, you go in and you want minimum one of two things. And that's how I went into a tournament. Minimum of one of two things. Firstly, you want to win the tournament, and secondly, you want to come out of this tournament with your reputation enhanced. And I think Declan Rice can do that. Didn't win it, but he's enhanced his reputation. Jude Bellingham, obviously. Saka definitely has done the same. Harry Maguire again. Like, him and John Stones were immaculate. Like, obviously the goal, Steve, I'm sure, wants to get onto that. The goal was, you can point the finger at Harry Maguire. And that's, again, he played really, really well all the other games. You get to this business end, and it's the fine margins. And if you're not on for the whole 90 minutes, you will get punished. And he was out of position for 1 second, and we get punished.
Steve, speak about the fine margins, the goals, the France goals. I've got a few counters, but I want to hear your thoughts.
All right. I got multiple things to say, but I just thought, I've said it. I said it on my channel. I said it on the review last night. I wanted to hear what Rio had to say about it. I firstly got to really agree with the Declan Rice thing. I thought Declan had a really sort of mature, underrated, understated sort of performance. That
You read my text. I sent mature.
is it? He did the dirty stuff. Jude Bellingham gets the headlines. There's a bit more all action, and he does a lot of the more attacking stuff. But Declan sits there, scans, keeps his head on a swivel, and snuffs out danger. There's a little bit of Carrick about his performance, I thought, and I think that's not a bad thing in the slightest. I think, another really underrated, understated English midfielder. I thought the first France goal came massively through Kyle Walker's positioning, and I don't think it was a Kyle Walker mistake, because as soon as that happened, you see Southgate doing a lot of pointing, talking, and to me it looked like Southgate changed that in game. But to go into the game and allow your fullback to get into the final third when his probably sole reason for being selected is to mark Mbappe, and then know that happens, what happens on the transition, where it's Mbappe that takes the ball over the halfway line, they switch it, it comes back, Tchouameni makes it 1-0. That, for me, was sort of fine margin that I don't blame Kyle Walker in that instance, because I think he was following orders, but that, for me, is an absolute tactical clanger. Why would you allow your fullbacks to enter, not even the final third, but he entered the side of the box before England lose the ball, and then you get hit on the transition? We know this French team is elite on the transition. We know that they're you mentioned it, I think, last night. They're very Atletico Madrid in their performance, that they're pretty patient and they're very mature. You can see the experience in them. People are talking England dominated the game. France let England dominate the game, because when they needed to, they put the pressure on. They looked like they was going to go score. They went and scored. And then they sat back and was like, right, go on, your turn. And the only time I thought he grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck was that 50 to 65 sort of minutes. And that's where I thought Marcus Rashford had to be introduced.
I agree, but you know the point you're making there about Kyle Walker leaving Mbappe when we've got the ball and going up the pitch a little bit. I understand that, but I throw myself into the change room, and I think that what he'll be saying is, let's push Kylian Mbappe back, bring him back. Now, the difference is, and this is what I love about continental styles of football and the way continental managers think a little bit differently, he allows Kylian Mbappe to cheat a little bit. He allows him to cheat and stay up the pitch and be a problem then on the transition. But I wouldn't say that was the issue with this goal, though, because there was still probably about 20-odd seconds before the ball went in the back of the net. It wasn't like it was a transition and in 3-4 seconds after winning the ball back, the ball's in the back of our net. We actually, if you watch the goal, we actually got back into a really good shape, and Jude Bellingham gets within a whisker of blocking the ball. And it's not for the fact that we were caught in transition and couldn't get back to make an effect or an impact on the play. It was that we were there. It's just that the fine margins of maybe Jude Bellingham coming out a bit quicker, or his body, his angle of approach, or whatever. These are the little margins and details that unfortunately decide a game. And if you get any of it wrong, then you do get punished. And I would have sat there and said, listen, Jude Bellingham's running out to him, and if I was a centre half behind him, I'd say, go on, shoot, because you've got to get past Jude Bellingham and me from that far. I'm backing it. You don't. Then Pickford saves it minimum, and maybe Pickford, if you're being picky, could have been 3 or 4 yard, a yard or two out maybe.
I don't think so. Where we were sitting, because we saw the goal right there and then, and I'll be honest with you, there was nothing.
Watch when you look back. I saw Peter Schmeichel talk about it, and from a goalkeeper perspective, when he mentioned that, and I saw it, he was quite deep. But it's also, again, it's a preference of goalkeepers. Some prefer to be a bit deeper. Some prefer to come out and close the angle a little bit by a yard or two. And we're splitting hair.
Yeah, either way, Pickford redeemed himself with some saves later in the game anyway.
Brilliant.
So, he saved some stuff he had no right to. So I wouldn't give him on that. What's your thoughts on the team selection? Obviously, you've probably seen my thoughts on it last night. I really thought a back three, allow Kyle Walker to just deal with Mbappe. And Mbappe wasn't a massive threat in the game. But I think what it would have done is it would have pushed everyone else back. If you bring Trippier in, you've got that set-piece threat. But the big one for me is Marcus Rashford. Like, there was so many times that France line was right on the halfway line. I took photos of it because I was that certain of it. Like, the France team gets all the way up to the halfway line. There was a couple of times Harry Kane broke the line, and you can't even get excited because you know he doesn't have the legs to be able to get him behind there. Why is Marcus Rashford play 100 minutes, got 3 goals under his belt, not selected in a game of this sort of magnitude? And why is he bringing Sterling, who's been in London after work? Make that make sense.
I think that's the biggest. Is travesty a too strong a word? I don't know. But that's the biggest disappointment for me. I think if I'm looking at it and I'm Marcus Rashford, I'm thinking to myself, how much more do I have to do to get in this team? Like, I've banged in 3 goals. I've come in and changed games like you want me to. And I'm still not getting a sniff. And I'm not coming into I'm coming into the game when you want me to pull you out of the shit, really. When really, I'm not getting on the pitch there when we're still well in the game. We got back to 1-1. You know what? I mean, everything's great with hindsight, but this is why Gareth Southgate is the manager. When you're in the fire, when it's 1-1, in a knockout game in the World Cup, you're in the fire then. You're in the fire pit when it's getting hot. You've got to remain cool and calm and make those decisions. Why not at 1-1 when the whole stadium's going, right, go on, go for him. Don't you throw on a Marcus Rashford and go, I am going to scare the living daylights out of this team now. Like you say, I think Fergie goes for it, man. He's a gambler at heart. He's a maverick. He's somebody who senses the moment, smells it, and goes, bang, have that. He didn't get it right all the time. I'm not going to sit here and say Fergie was perfect. Don't get me wrong. But what I do know is that he ain't sitting there on the sidelines and saying, relax, when we get to 1-1. He's sitting there and going, foot on the pedal, metal to the floor. I don't want to swear, let's fucking go and get these boys. Go and finish it off now.
They were rattled.
Yeah, they were rattled. You got them by the throat. We had them. It's basically like we had them against the wall, hand round their throats with their toes off the floor, waiting to be finished. And we eased them back down onto the floor, dusted down their shoulders and said, go on, guys, go and redeem yourself now. And that's what it felt like.
I want to ask you about Kylian Mbappe's performance. Obviously, before the game, we made a big deal of Kylian. I did tell you, Rio, they've got a few other threats, i.e. Dembele. I think I kind of disrespected Giroud by not mentioning him enough. Obviously, we spoke about Griezmann, we spoke about a few of their other players, but
we spoke about Giroud.
Well, a little bit.
France's all-time scorer.
Yeah, we did. We mentioned him, but we didn't really mention Tchouameni too much. We didn't really speak about Rabiot too much. But focusing on Mbappe, Rio.
Hold on, sorry, Joe, you're right. Sorry, Tchouameni and Rabiot come out and said from the word go, Bellingham's getting a lot of hype here. He's getting spoken about, and I think in their mind it was like there's far too much focus on Bellingham when we're here, and you've got to respect us. And I think Tchouameni, first up, obviously he gave away the penalty, but mate, he set the tone and said, listen, come on then, we're going to be around for the next 10 years together, Jude. Let's see who's the best. That's the attitude that I sensed from Tchouameni, definitely. Rabiot, I thought was fantastic as well. But Kylian Mbappe, he got the headlines, he gets the spotlight, and rightly so. He showed glimpses yesterday where he had me screaming when he went by Kyle Walker. But there ain't many players that are going to be able to do what Kyle Walker done to Mbappe yesterday. He stood there and said, come on. He stood there and went, come on, 1v1, what you got? And Mbappe, but he did get help. He did get people come over to him and help him and make it a 2v1, a 3v1 at times, which is what you needed. And Kyle Walker, I think, would sit there and go, so that's what you got to do. He's one of the best players, if not the best player at the moment in the world. So Kyle Walker, you have to go tilt your hat and go, he went out and done his part of the deal.
Wicked job.
But Mbappe, he's not bothered. He's had one day he hasn't scored in the tournament. It's fine. He ain't scored, but he's through. He's waking up this morning with a big smile on his face, and he's probably doing a little samba in his bedroom to the toilet from the bed. He's chilling. He's cool. Well, we're packing our bags to go home. So he don't. All the papers and medias and the marks that he's going to get in the paper, whether he's gone from a 9.5 out of 10 rating to a 7 maybe. Do you think Kylian Mbappe is actually bothered? I don't.
Doesn't give a damn.
Gareth Southgate, does he stay on for the next tournament? And yes or no, and why?
I think if I am Gareth Southgate, I cannot leave this story. This story hasn't had an ending yet that works for me. If I'm Gareth Southgate, this story ain't the way I see it ending with the players at my disposal. Yeah, I've seen a little list of the players, the age range of these players, the profile of the players that he has at his disposal is it's the stuff of dreams. You've got a dreamy set of players here that if you get it right with, could go on to like win things. They have to be able to win things with these players. It's an unbelievable collection of players, right? But he has to say to himself, am I the man to manage them and navigate them through this period and to get the best out of these players? Now, at the moment, he hasn't done that. He hasn't because he hasn't won it, right? And he has to make that decision. We can't sit here and make that decision for him, man. I think it's a difficult one. If I'm him, I can't leave. I don't leave. That's a bitter pill to swallow. I can't leave that, man. I'd have sleepless nights. I wouldn't be able to sleep no more because of what I'm leaving. And I've done all this work and brought us to this point now, and I'm going to hand it over to someone else to go and take the jewels and get all the cream and get all the adulation and win. No, man, I can't. It would kill me to do that.
Can I read you a list of teams out that he's beaten at World Cups?
No, because I know where it is at, man. It's not good. It's not going to be good reading. I know.
I'm going to do it. Sweden, Panama, Tunisia, Iran, Wales, Senegal. That's it. That's the list.
Of what? The teams he's beaten?
Yeah, in the World Cup.
Yeah, and then it's true. And then he comes up against Croatia and he comes up against France and has been beat.
Struggled against Colombia. Needed penalties against Colombia. Like, can you give me a single game that Southgate has tactically won?
The Germany game in the Euros.
I think
for the time.
No, but I think he has. He has won games. Even in substitutions, even in this tournament, we were saying substitution-wise, he done well. He brought on players who impacted the game, etc. But they're group games. They're very different when you get into the hot part of the kitchen. You get near the oven and you put your head in the oven during the knockout stages. And he hasn't been able to make those decisions that impact the games in those moments. That's where the FA are going to maybe have to look at it and judge it and go, okay, is he? But then you look at it, who is out there that is actually capable of taking the job and willing to take the job? Who is it?
Rio, he's got a 30% win rate in the Premier League or something like that. Like, there's literally a dozen managers that have got a better record than him that could do it.
Yeah,
it's the highest paid football job in the world. You've got to do more than beat Panama and Tunisia and Iran.
What's the highest paid job in the world?
This is.
Well, Pep's getting more than him.
It means this is a part-time job, Rio.
No, who's out there? That's what I'm saying. Throw me some names. That's what you've got to look at. You can't just say
man's got to do less in pre-season. He's doing out here.
He said Pochettino might be a good shout. He doesn't mind seeing Poch. I don't know if it's because he sat down with him and interviewed him, or if
that's because he's seen him now. Now he's softened up. Because when Pochettino was there, my man, he folded like a pack of cards.
Rio, he can't manage United, but he could manage England.
You went soft centre like a fried egg.
Posted it on his Instagram and all sorts.
Oh, mate, I couldn't believe it. But Pochettino, I don't think you've got to ask the question. You can't just say, let's sack Gareth Southgate. Who's out there? You could go and see Pochettino and he'd say, I don't want him.
Rio, there's no one. Rio.
Tuchel. He don't want him national football yet, maybe.
Nah.
So you can't just say, oh, let's sack him. Please, can we just do something, please, as well, by the way? Can we remember where we was before Gareth Southgate took this job?
Thank you, Rio.
Can we remember where we was? Can we please just take ourselves back We were happy to get out of group stages. We were happy to get to the last 16.
Scraping out of group stages.
Quarterfinals and semi-finals, we were getting a rapturous applause on the way home. The people were delighted with us. Now we're going into tournaments with expectancy levels way above where we've ever been before because of where Gareth Southgate has taken us. The ambience within the squad, the environment, the culture that he's set within this group of players, man. These guys, these guys want to go to England now. I played in a squad in an era where players didn't want to turn up, or players turned up with their eyes looking so depressed they don't want to be here, man. They didn't want to be a part of it. The culture weren't conducive to a team environment where there was togetherness. It wasn't there. We weren't built to win. This team are on the cusp of that could be something special, yeah? Is Gareth Southgate the guy that FA are the ones who are going to have to make the decision? Or is Gareth going to take the decision out of their hands? But me personally, if I'm Gareth, I can't leave this where I've got it to right now. It's unfinished business.
Well done, Rio. Well said. Honestly, I respect it. Now, listen, I have to move you on because we have to go soon, but I have to move you on to the other games. Let's quickly look back at
God, what
Argentina
it's been.
beating the Netherlands 4-2 on penalties. It was 2-2 after the final whistle. An amazing game, honestly. Messi, you have to say, player of the tournament is probably out of him, Mbappe and Griezmann, right? Messi has been tops.
Yeah, Messi was that, man. The pass that he played, the pass by itself was like, I was thankful just to be there to see the pass because I wish the BBC were filming, man, because like in the studio, because I'm losing my voice in there screaming at some of the stuff I'm seeing, man. He was amazing. And he's just got little details in his game that he does things that others can't, where he receives the ball under mad pressure, balls coming in at mad pace and mad angles, and he just makes it look so simple. He makes the hardest things look easy. And I thought in the end, Argentina were worthy to go through. But a great game. The referee tried to ruin that game, man. But Morocco, I've got to be honest, I've got to move on to Morocco because what they have done for the Muslim community, for the African continent, you can't put a measure on that, man. And they have. We've seen some moments from teams from underdogs, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia in this tournament, underdogs beating big, well-renowned historical teams, man. But what Morocco have done, first African team to get to a semi-final of a World Cup, man. I salute these guys. What they have done, they need saluting because whatever they do now, they're heroes. Simple as.
You know what's nuts? I was saying to Steve yesterday, because in France, they obviously have a massive like Tunisian, Moroccan community. Their country is going to be split, Arab community. For the first time, you're probably going to see more, Morocco fans in France than for France. I think that's going to be incredible. I would love to be in France for the next game, by the way. I would absolutely love to be there.
Oh, man. Do you know what? Amazing. You got to give a special mention to Croatia, man, because I've done that game as well. They're a wily old rugged team, man. No one expects them to get anywhere near it. And one thing it does tell you is that if you've got midfield players who are willing to take the ball and dictate games and be cute and coy and rugged in these situations, have the experience, and you throw some youth and some legs around them, experience counts for a lot, man. And this Croatia team, hats off to them. They're going to be a difficult.
I've got to ask you.
It makes no sense.
I've got to ask you both. Modric, right? Modric, Iniesta, or Xavi?
I think whoever you pick, you can't be wrong. Whoever you pick, you're not wrong.
It's mad, isn't it?
I leave it at that. Yeah,
it's one of those, isn't it? Pick who you want. You got a case for all of them. He is that good, man. Running the way he does it. No, honestly, the android,
crazy.
Absolute android.
He's been incredible. But those quarterfinals, I don't think I've ever seen a series of one round of football where every game was 10 out of 10. And it was drama and there was quality. They've absolutely delivered on every single level. If the semi-finals are even half as good as that, we're going to pass out.
So can we all agree that this has been the best World Cup in terms of football that we've seen for years?
No doubt. It's got everything. Wild results, top players playing. Rio, before I forget, Ronaldo, man, last World Cup.
Gone home, man.
Portugal gone home.
Yeah, man. I think there's a lot of talk around outside of the game with Ronaldo in this World Cup, and unfortunately that you want it to be really talking about someone like that about the game, and it just didn't pan out like that for them. I think he'll be devastated with the way it's finished. Obviously going out, but obviously not playing an integral part in that team, and ended up being on the bench. But the manager deemed that the right decision, and I thought they had a good chance of getting to the final. But Morocco obviously went and done their job and done their due diligence and worked them. But Cristiano Ronaldo bows out 5 World Cups, scored in 5 World Cups, the only player to do that. His legacy won't be tarnished by this World Cup. As I say, the guy, what he's done in the game and laid down has been unquestionable. And I think it's a day where you talk about who goes through more than anything. And I think you've got to give the positive light and positive end of this 5-5 to congratulate the teams that have gone through, man. And we can talk about the likes of Ronaldo and the people that aren't going to be able to have a chance to play again on another show. That's a show in itself, man.
Predictions. Croatia versus Argentina, France versus Morocco. What are
bro. I'm done with predictions, bro. You see my predictions? I said England will win it, bro. So don't even listen to what I'm saying.
Oh, we told you though, Rio. You owe Patrice Everett some money. You gotta bring the cash.
Yeah, I do.
Bring it out in cash. Bring it out in cash. I was getting DMs. Tell Rio he owes Patrice the dough.
Yeah, in the WhatsApp group yesterday, Patrice was popping off. He was popping off. Oh, mate, when it went 1-0,
the boulevard there with a baseball bat and a hold all.
When it went 1-0, yeah, he was on me. Voice notes a lot. When it went 1-1, you should have heard me, bruv. I was coming back. And then when the team dominated, I was sitting there saying, listen, I'll take half of it up front right now if you want to end the bet. Take it. And then they scored, bruv. And I just laid down, man. I laid down. And that was it. But listen, man, that's a good way to finish. Patrice, I got your money, man. I'll give you £1 a week until we're finished. And that's how we're going to solve it. And I want it to all go to charity. If he tries to pocket this money, he ain't the man I thought he is. I love this game, man.
All right, subscribe. There's still more to come from us. There's still more to come from this World Cup. There's some unbelievable vlogs on the way for you that you definitely need to check out, and maybe a little bit more. So keep it locked to 5 in a bit.
Peace.